Hello, my name is Alex Pirsos, and I'm a current student with North Carolina State University's Institute for Advanced Analytics. I'm here today with Clare Burns, who is a 2017 graduate of the MSA program and now works as a senior business analyst with Apple. Clare, thank you so much for joining us today.
Of course, thank you for having me, Alex.
So I'd love to get started by just having a little bit more of an understanding of where your passion for analytics came from. I know you studied public health in undergrad, so how did you transition from that career path to analytics?
That's a great question. So as you said, I started out in public health as my undergraduate degree, thinking that I wanted to go the medical route and go to medical school someday. But as I started taking more organic chemistry classes, I decided that that was not the track for me. But part of my public health degree was taking some computer science and statistics courses as a biostatistics health informatics route of that degree. And I really enjoyed those courses a lot. I thought in this hot tech industry and job market, I should try to get some more of these skill sets. So I was doing some research, browsing around different master's program, came across the Masters of Analytics program at NC State and thought, I can't think of a better program to join if I'm fortunate enough to get admitted to where I can really get some more skill sets in data science and analytics, and from there have the flexibility of hopping into different industries and really getting a good start to my career.
Great. Yeah, it's really interesting to hear how many diverse backgrounds people come from to this program. Really, there's a lot of different pathways to analytics that don't always come directly from computer science.
Yes, that is so true. I think the same.
And one of my favorite aspects of data science is that it really can be applied to just so many different industries. We're all kind of in the midst of our career search right now. So I'm curious to know, what were some of the most important criteria for you when you were looking for that first job out of the IAA?
Oh, that's a great question. So I think for me, one of the main criterias would be, that's such a tough question to answer now that I'm reflecting on what exactly I was looking for. And now that I've been in the industry for a while, kind of reflecting on what I should have been looking for also when I first hopped in. But I think first and foremost, culture of a team and management. I think that is so important at any job. It can be the most fabulous job ever. If the management is not there to support its people, that just makes a world of a difference. So looking for a good team-oriented culture. I think also for me, first coming out of the program, especially going into the program right out of undergrad, what I was looking for, I went into consulting, and I was really looking forward to going into consulting to be able to get a lot of diverse experience in the data science and analytics field. So that's something I was looking for too, is where can I go where I feel like I can get the most experience in a variety of settings to increase my skill sets in analytics even more. So I'd say those are probably the top two criteria for me.
Definitely. And speaking of your experience with consulting, which was your first role coming out of the IAA, from my perspective, being a current student, it can definitely feel a little bit intimidating to go from taking information from the classroom and actually applying it for a company or for clients. What was that experience like for you? Did you feel like there was a lot of kind of learning on the fly?
I did feel like learning curve for sure outside of the program, though I will say I think the program, one of the things I really appreciated about the program was the vast variety of experience we got in analytics. I feel like we had so many classes in text analytics, logistic regression, neural networks, that it laid a very solid foundation for going into the industry. So that's something that I felt confident going into the industry, that I had this wide array of analytics skills. But where it was a learning curve for me in the industry, and I feel like they mentioned this to students in the program, is going more in depth into those skills. So I'll give an example. In my first job, we did a project with text analytics, and we had a foundational course at the IAA in text analytics, but I definitely had to jump in even deeper. And I actually went back to the modules for the new students after I graduated, where they did have a deeper module in text analytics to learn more about that area, but felt confident with a solid foundation, but definitely had to dive more in depth into some subject areas. And then I think on top of that, being in business as opposed to in the school setting too, that was also a learning curve, just more learning more about the business application of different data science and analytic solutions and kind of what clients are looking for, what clients see as important to actually adopting those analytic solutions. The business application was also a learning curve, especially being a student all of my life and not being in corporate America until coming out of the IAA.
Yeah, it's great to hear even with some of those learning curves that you were able to take the foundation from the program and, apply it to the start of your career. So with that, I would love to hop into our lightning round just to ask a few fun, just general analytic questions. So first, I would love to know who your practicum sponsor was and what your role on your practicum team was.
Sure. My practicum sponsor was the United Network of Organ Sharing. And my role on the team, I'm trying to think back now, that was such a long time ago. I was the Scrum Master on the team. So I learned a lot of good project management skills during that project using Jira and understanding the different operations of an analytics project.
All right, so now if you have to pick between two of some of our favorite classification methods, logistic regression or decision trees, which one's your favorite?
Oh gosh, that's a really tough question. I think for me, my favorite of those two is probably the logistic regression. I've had to use that a lot in industry so far, and that is a tried and true model when you have a binary outcome to use and get some really good insights into the data.
Great. And are there any companies out there that you have heard about or seen that you think are using analytics in really interesting or cool ways?
That's also a great question. I think a lot of companies are using analytics in a great way. I'll give you a more specific answer as I think through. Obviously, I think Apple is using analytics and applying that intelligence to our business. I think a lot of consulting companies out there, I know I'm biased towards these two, are really up to date with recent techniques in analytics. I was just talking to someone the other day who was interested in doing their master's degree in analytics, and something that we both shared is just the growth of those programs over the years, I think reflects the demand in industry and where businesses are trying to go with analytics. When I look at our Tableau workbook on the IAA website that shows all of those program comparisons, it's just amazing to me to see how many programs have popped up just over the last couple of years since I've graduated. So that makes me really optimistic that businesses are serious about using analytics to get more insights into their customers and into what works and what can help them be more successful.
Great. And just last concluding question, do you have any advice for future students who are looking to kind of get into this field and maybe some tips of what they can be working on in order to excel in analytics?
Yes. That's also a great question. So I think my main piece of advice, just reflecting, thinking back to when I was a student, is gosh, I'm really thinking through. I want to give a good answer here. I think my main piece of advice, and I know this is one of the things they really teach at the Institute, is communication really is key. I've seen a lot of times in industry where you have a group of data scientists and there's one or two in the group who not only have the technical skill set, but they can really communicate those solutions, and that just really takes you far in the industry. So I can't emphasize that enough. I think strong communication and the ability to tie that analytics insight and that technical insight to the business problem at hand really makes a difference and will take someone far.
Great. Well, thank you so much for all of your insightful answers. It was really nice to learn more about your analytics journey, and I'm sure I and all of our listeners will be curious to see what you're going to be working on next.
Of course. Well, thank you so much for your time and for the opportunity to be a part of this series. It's always great to reconnect with students, and of course the IAA, it's done so much for me in my career. Graduating from the program. So I really appreciate the opportunity to come back and share about my experience.
Of course, we're happy to help host you here today. So thank you again.
Thank you.